Yes, welcome back to UPSCale Day 4 program. In this Day 4, you have this schedule, that is Schools of Art, Age of Shatavahana and History of Deep South. However, we are mostly focusing on the history of political and social nature, and the art and culture part will be covered exclusively. Therefore, we are emphasizing more on the Deep South areas and Shatavahana rulers. Here first question is talking about, consider the following statements pertaining to Shatavahanas. Shatavahana rulers were identified with matronymics. They derived their names from mothers, that is true. However, the succession to the throne was generally patrilineal in nature. Irrespective of their matronymics, means the name lineage which was derived from the mother, they had followed this philosophy of succession to the throne was mostly patrilineal in nature. Not mostly, it was confirmed by the NCERT in its themes in part 1. Next, coming to second question, Rajaraja I, who belonged to the ancient chiefly family of the Cholas from Uraya and captured this Muttairuyar, the delta of Muttairuyar in the middle of the 9th century. It was not Rajaraja I, it was Vijayalaya, who was part of initially feudatory of the Pallavas. Okay, during this Cholas dynasty which had emerged in the medieval era compared to this Sangam times. This was actually led by Vijayalaya Chola, okay, that is important. And Rajaraja I raided the Ganga Valley, Sri Lanka and countries of Southeast Asia and navy for these expeditions. This is absolutely wrong, because Rajendra I is the ruler who followed this expedition and he expanded his territory towards Ganga Valley and Sri Lanka and Southeast Asian countries as well. Rajaraja I considered to be most powerful, and he became a king in 985. However, Rajaraja's son Rajendra I continued his policies and even raided Ganga Valley, Sri Lanka and Southeast Asia, and this expedition was continued. Next, Vijayalaya, who belonged to this ancient chiefly family of the Cholas from the Urayura region, captured this Muttairuyar delta, and in the middle of the 9th century, later he expanded his territory of this Chola dynasty towards Thanjavur, the town of Thanjavur and temple of goddess Nishamba Shuddhi. Next, consider the following statements. The name Andhra doesn't occur in Shatavahana inscriptions. They defeated the Kanvas and established their power in parts of central India. And Shatavahanas engaged in prolonged conflict with Hunas. Actually, it was Shakas. Coming to this, which of the following statements? Only first and second statement are true. The third statement is incorrect. Most important of these native successors of the Mauryas in the Deccan and central India were the Shatavahanas. Okay, and Shatavahanas are considered to be identical with Andhras according to the Puranas and also various other inscriptions, and only Andhra rule, not of Shatavahana. They only speak, the Puranas speak only of Andhra rule and not of Shatavahana rule. On the other hand, the name Andhra doesn't occur in Shatavahana inscriptions. That is also very important. The Andhra doesn't occur in Shatavahana inscriptions. It was mostly based on Puranas. So, Andhra Bhrutya, actually in Puranas they were termed as, mostly the archaeologists or other literary experts and historians are confirming that Shatavahanas in the Puranas were called to be, are termed as Andhra Bhrutya. Okay. Next, coming to this one, and identical with this Andhra, who are more mentioned in Puranas. And next thing is, the earliest inscriptions of the Shatavahana belong to the 1st century BC, and when they defeated the Kanvas, established their power in parts of central India. The early Shatavahana king appeared in Andhra, but in Maharashtra, not appeared in Andhra, but in Maharashtra, early Shatavahanas. And mostly Kotilingala was one such place in Telangana region, termed to be homeland of early Shatavahanas, and considered to be early land for Shatavahanas. There was a dispute, and however, mostly historians are considering they belong to this Maharashtra region, and early Shatavahanas expanded their territory and adopted Sanskrit as the major language of this dynasty. So, once that is very important. They set up their power in the upper Godavari valley, which presently produces rich and diverse crops in Maharashtra. And coming to their greatest competitors were Sekas, and Rudradaman was the greatest ruler, and he defeated many Shatavahana kings who had established this power in the upper Deccan were part of India, this Shaka ruler. And Gautamiputra Shatakarni between 106 and 130 AD was once the most famous king in this among the Satavahanas. He called himself as only Brahmana. Let's coming to this fourth question. Satavahana kingdom was established not by Hala, as you know that it was by Simukha, and next title Eka Brahmana was used by this Gautamiputra Satakarni between 106 and 130 AD. The only Brahmana was title given to him, and it was not Vasishtiputra Pulamavi. However, he was the son of this Gautamiputra Satakarni. Next, unlike Kshatrapas, the fifth question, it is talking about Satavahana. Unlike Kshatrapas, they extended patronage both to Brahmanas as well as Buddhist monks. Actually, Kshatrapas also extended such support system to both Brahmanas and Buddhist monks. Therefore, unlike Kshatrapas is wrong. The second part of the statement is true, the first part is incorrect. So, and second statement coming to here, Satavahana rulers conducted sacrifices such as Ashwamedha. It is true, Ashwamedha Yaga was also conducted by them. They were considered to be Brahmanas and they followed all ritual practices, and this Ashwamedha Yaga, one of the greatest testimonies of a king to show his valor and power over other kingdoms and chieftains, and especially these feudatories and other territories which were opposing this Ashwamedha will definitely fight against this king who performed this Ashwamedha sacrifice. That is also important. Next, the statement 2 is correct and the statement 1 is incorrect, because Kshatrapas also patronized Buddhist monks apart from Brahmanas. Consider the following statements about Satavahana empire in the Deccan. The discovery of the early Satavahana coins at Kotilingala and Sangareddy in the Karimnagar district supports hypothesis beginning of their rule. They had produced this hypothetical idea of early Satavahanas lived in Kotilingala and established kingdom in that region. And next, Nanaghat and Nashik inscriptions point to the beginning of their rule in the Western India, is Western Deccan. Nanaghat was one inscription mentioning about Satavahana's early rule started in the Western Deccan. When it comes to this Kotilingala, there were many coins available during the period of the Satavahana. Therefore, historians were arguing that early Satavahanas also lived in Kotilingala, or mostly they were traced to this Kotilingala part in Telangana region. Initially, it was combined, part of a combined Andhra Pradesh state. And further, it may apply not to Satavahana. And apart from the name Andhra, the discovery of early Satavahana coins, Kotilingala Sangareddy in Karimnagar district of, initially it was Andhra, now Telangana, Karimnagar district. It's a hypothesis, this was a hypothesis from various historians that they belonged, the early Satavahana started in this Telangana region. Next, consider the following statements with regard to Gada Saptasai. Gada Saptasati, it was named, Gada means a great poem. It was written by, as you know that this is Hala, okay, erotic poems written by him. It was written in Sanskrit. Actually, I have to come here explanation, but it is not here, just very simple question, that is why explanation is very small. It was written in not Sanskrit, it was written in Prakrit, this Hala, 17th line in the 17th, who is supposed to have authored this Gada Saptasai. Satavahana king, this Hala was mentioned in the Gada Saptasai in the 17th line, that he is supposed to be the author of this Gada Saptasai. It was the proof, it was given in, and a collection of 700 erotic poems in the Maharashtri Prakrit dialect. Maharashtri Prakrit dialect. Next, 8th question is talking about, match the following and pairs, which of the given pairs are correct. Vakatakas, Kadambas, Abhiras, Ikshvakus. All the above pairs are correct, and Abhiras from Maharashtra, Kadambas, Mysore, and Vakataka, Deccan. After the demise of Satavahana rule, the other kingdoms which emerged out of it were Vakatakas in the Deccan part, and Kadambas, Abhiras, Mysore and Maharashtra respectively, and Ikshvakus from Andhra. This Puranic king list was also one such testimony to understand those kingdoms emerged out of after the demise of these Satavahanas. And Satavahana dynasty came to an end mid 3rd century current era, that is AD. Next, 9th question. Ahara during Mauryan and Satavahana period refers to district. The Satavahana kept some of the administrative units found in Ashokan times as well. They followed the system of Ahara. It was known as a district, and their officials were term to be Amatyas, Mahamatras, okay, as they were known in Mauryan times as well, Amatyas and Mahamatras. Next, consider the following statements about Shatavahana administration. Satavahana administration. Here there are both military and feudal elements in the administration of Satavahana. The administration in the rural areas were placed in the hands of Golmika, and who was the head of the military regiment. Both the statements are correct. Here Satavahana administration, both military and feudal elements in the administration, and they had followed such a system which was imported from Mauryan dynasty. Okay. And next, administration in rural areas was also placed in the hands of this Golmika, head of that village, military regiment especially. Okay, the administration in rural areas placed in the hands of Golmika was head of that military regiment, consisting various chariots and horses and foot soldiers as well. Kataka and Skandavaras, Katakas and Skandavaras during Satavahana period refers to military camps and settlements. Skandavaram or Kataka, it is Telugu, in Telugu you might have heard about it. See, the military character of this Shatavahana rule very evident from common use of those terms Kataka and Skandavaras. In inscriptions also this Kataka and Skandavara mentioned several times, and military camps and settlements which was serving administrative centers during that time. Next, Nagarjuna Konda, the next question is about. Consider the following statement with regard to, it contains both Buddhist monuments and Brahminical brick temples. While it was prospered under the Shatavahana, later it was destroyed by their successors Ikshvakus. It was absolutely wrong. Ikshvakus did not destroy such a marvel which was emerged during the period of Shatavahanas. They followed those brick temple structure, Brahminical temple structure, and Ikshvakus also followed this Brahminism. And Nagarjuna Konda prospered more under Ikshvaku times actually, and the successors of this Shatavahana also followed these principles which Shatavahana adapted with respect to the religious belief system and sacrifices, ritual practices. Consider the following statements: Madurai, Puhar, Vanchi. Next, coming to deep south history. Now, each place which was mentioned during the Sangam literature is very much important, and the places mentioned in the map also need to be learnt. Here, you please go through this one. Pandya capital actually Madurai. It is situated along the bank of the Vaigai river. Pandya capital, exactly southern tip of this Tamil Nadu, having Madurai as the capital, this Pandya kingdom, and Vaigai is its major lifeline. That is a river, Vaigai. Next, Chola's capital Puhar is situated on the banks of the Kaveri. Okay, Puhar, the name given to it. And next, Chera's capital Vanchi is situated along the banks of this Periyar river. Chera in the present day Kerala. Next, Kabheris or Kamara, as mentioned in several ancient classical texts, refers to a port situated along the western coast of India. That is Kabheri or Kamara. An entire Sangam collection, Pattanipallai, okay, Pattinappalai, that is Sangam literary text, is devoted to description of this place. What is that place? Kabheri or Kamara. Okay, this is Pumpuhar. This is talking about Pumpuhar. The description was mostly Kabheri, Kamara was one of the terms or synonyms that was given to this Pumpuhar place, which was also discussed in Sangam literary text several times. The term Kabheri and Kamara, that text name is Pattanipallai. Kaveri Pattanam, also known as Pumpuhar or Puhar, was the premier Chola port in early historic times. Kabheri Kamara, classical accounts are referring it as Kabheri Kamara. And next, Sangam collection, Pattanipallai is devoted to description of this place. Please go through this map which is given here and uploaded in our app. Here various Mujiris is a port located in Chera kingdom, and next Karkai is located in Pandya kingdom. Next Puhar or Pumpuhar beside containing Kaveri Pattanam, that is located in Chola kingdom. Okay, these ports are important ancient ports asked by UPSC previously in its PYQs. Which of the Sangam ports were situated on the western coast? Here Tondi and Muchiri. These are part of this western coast, and Korkai just now I have shown you in the map, and Puhar also part of this Chola. Chola and Pandya are eastern part of containing two ports respectively. These are Puhar and Korkai. Chola containing Puhar and Korkai, eastern coast of this Tamil Nadu region, and Tondi Muchri were part of the Chera dynasty located exactly in the western coast in southern tip of this, okay, around this Muchri spot. Next, according to the Tamil Sangam text, who among the following were large land owners? Large land owners were termed to be Vellalars. Vellalars. They had many marital relationships to sustain their power during those times as well. Vellalars are rich peasants who had lot of wealth, and ruling caste used to have marital relationship with them, and the ruling class were named as Arasar. So, Arasar and Vellalar, therefore, that hierarchical social structure existed during Sangam times as well. And one more thing, Kshatriya Vaishyas do not appear as regular Varnas in the Sangam text, that is also important. But Tamil Brahmins took meat and wine during that time, it was mentioned in the Sangam literature, and Brahmanas first appear in Tamil land in Sangam age as well. Next, 17th question. Uttar Merur inscription provides information on the administration of the Cholas. Uttar Merur inscription, the rural self-governance and the electoral procedure and terms, conditions, recruitment and removal procedure was also given there in the Cholas Uttar Merur inscription. This inscription and Uttar Merur inscription exclusively asked by APPSC Group 1, exclusively it mentioned about Uttar Merur inscription, and we have given several questions related to Cholas administrative system of this decentralization in our mains examinations. Okay, there were close links between two types of systems there in this rural self-government types. One is Sabha and the other one is this one, Chola's court. Here the Brahmana Sabhas and Chola's court, two inscriptions from Uttar Merur was mentioned, and there is a close links between this Brahmana Sabha and also this Chola court. Here Uttar Merur inscription stated that resolution would have been passed by the Sabha, which was led by the Brahmanas and was made presence in the front of an official, especially deputed by the king. So, the Sabha which passes the resolution, and that notification usually it taken place in the in front of an official deputed by a king. Even more telling about two Tanjavur inscriptions which indicating that Rajaraja I issued orders to Sabhas of the Chola Mandalam to perform various types of services in Brihadishwara temple. So, the temples were not only the places for the worship, but also places for the service delivery and welfare schemes implemented through the temples by the kings. That is also very important. And Tanir means separate village. Separate village. The village concerned were considered independent entities within Nadus. Within Nadus, the villages considered to be independent entities. That is the greatest administrative testimony during the times of Cholas. Decentralized administration. Next, Tamilakam was the name of the ancient Tamil country that included land between present day Tirupati hills and the southernmost tip of the peninsula is named as Tamilakam. Inscriptions several times mentioned about it. Next, this was asked in UPSC CAPF exam 2020, that is why we have taken this, and please go through various other cities mentioned there. Here, Lower Kaveri Valley, which is one of the subjects of this Chola, and it also contained Tanjavur, Tiruchinappalli districts of Tamil Nadu, and the ancient Chola kingdom contained Tanjavur, Tiruchinappalli and Lower Kaveri Valley. These are the principalities. And next one is kingdom of the Pandyas in the valleys of Tamraparni and Vagai. Those two were the rivers and containing valleys which placed this Pandya kingdom. And modern Tirunelveli, Madurai, Ramnath districts and South Travancore are and its capital Madurai are part of this Pandya, and Madurai, Tirunelveli, Madurai and Ramnath districts, South Travancore, these are part of Pandyas. And Chera kingdom on the Kerala coast, their capital Karuvur, also named as Vanji. Karuvur is the capital of Pandyas and named as Vanji. Therefore, Chola, Chera, Pandya. Chera's capital is Vanji or Karuvur. Chola's capital is Kaveri Patnam, Puhar. And next, this Cholachera Pandya kingdom had capital city Madurai, and port cities also important. Mujiris is the port city of Pandya, and Puhar is the port city of this Cholas. So please remember these port cities as well. Port cities of Cholachera Pandya and capital cities of Cholachera Pandya. All these are participated and other prominent places. Flourishing the network, and a premier Chola port was Puhar, and major port of Pandya was Korkai, and already I have told you. And Tundi Muchri was asked previously by UPSC. Tundi Muchri were part of this Pandya kingdom and becoming western coastal part. Okay, they were part of this ports of the western coast of the India in the southern tip. Chera kingdom, they belong to this Chera kingdom. Next, this was UPSC 2020 previous year question, that is why I have been reiterating several times. Next, the term Yavanapriya mentioned in ancient Sanskrit text denoted. Yavanapriya is a pepper. It was mentioned several times in ancient scripts. Next, consider the following statements with regard to Manimekalai. Sittalai Satyanar, who wrote this Manimekalai? Manimekalai was the heroine of this scripture, and composition of the Manimekalai is attributed to Sittalai Satyanar, that is true. And Buddhism portrayed in the epic of the Hinayana variety, not it was Hinayana variety, it was Mahayana variety. They worshipped these Buddhas figures as well, and they mentioned Buddha several times in these texts, and Jain texts were also mentioned in various other Sangam literature too, and you will be discussing it. There are frequent references to miracles and spells reflecting the elements of Buddhist Tantra. This Tantric Buddhism had roots in the Sangam literature as well, because the spells, chants and miracles were also mentioned during that time. And one more thing, in 2023 it seems UPSC in its preliminary examination at 22 had given such a question related to frequent references to miracle spells, okay, during Sangam times. And how many of the statements given above are correct? Here is only 3 statements correct, because it is not Hinayana, it is Mahayana. Next, the Charanas, the term Charanas mentioned in the Silapadikaran refers to Charanas mentioned in Silapadikaran, wandering Jain ascetics. Just now I have told you that there were other literature in the Sangam age mentioned Jain ascetics as well, Jain literature. The wandering Jain ascetics were named as Charanas. Okay, they were mentioned in Silapadikaran, one of the prominent texts during Sangam times. So, philosophical discourse are scattered throughout this text, and magnificent temple of Nigrandas, means at Kaveri, in the Kaveri Patnam, the chain temple Nigrandas were also mentioned there, and mentions wandering Jain monks as Charanas there. Okay. Jain elements in the storyline. I mean, the Silapadikaran refers to the Jain elements in the storyline. CDS question 2016 combined defense service question. Next, consider the following passage and identify 3 principalities referred to there using the code given below. Here, Cholas, Pandyas, Chera. In the early history of the far south in India, 3 tribal principalities are mentioned in Ashokan inscription of the 3rd century and in Kharvela inscription of the 1st century as well. The early history of far south had 3 tribal principalities. These were mentioned in the Ashokan inscription. This is also important, that Kharvela inscription, Odisha king, okay, Kharvela, this inscription, this is also important. I mentioned these tribal principalities of the southern part of India, Chola, Pandya, Chera. Okay. You all know that this explanation was already given there, the port cities and the capital cities of this Chola, Chera, Pandya. Next, consider the following statements. Mauryan dynasty was replaced by Shungas in Magadha. Mauryan dynasty was replaced by Shungas and Magadha. Shungas in Magadha. Next, Pushyamitra Shunga killed Kalashoka, that was wrong. Pushyamitra Shunga killed Bruhadratha. Next, the last Mauryan ruler and ascended the throne. Second statement is incorrect. And unlike Maurya, Shungas were Brahmanas. That is true, fine. Next, only 2 statements given above are correct. The second statement is incorrect. Next, with reference to invaders, this was a PYQ in 2006. They have asked about various chronological order based questions. Greeks, Shekas and Kushanas is the order who invaded India from foreign forces. Actually, this is the order, and not only this order, but also you have to remember other names, that Shekas, Pahlavas means Parthians, Huns. This order is so important. And already yesterday we have discussed about the Bactrians, various kings, kingdoms and their occupation. and their association with the Mauryan dynasty and later parts of that Buddhist literature, which was also influencing these Greek kings, Menindar, Milindapanha. We have discussed several things. And last Mauryan ruler Bruhadratha was assassinated by his commander in chief Pushyamitra Shunga. Just now we have asked in the earlier question. And next thing is last Shunga king Devabhuti was assassinated by his Brahmana minister Vasudeva Kanva, who usurped the throne. And last ruler of the Kanva dynasty was deposed by the Andhras. All three statements were chronologically given, those were correct only, because Pushyamitra Shunga dynasty started after the Maurya, and the Shunga king Devabhuti was assassinated by Brahmana minister. He was named as Vasudeva Kanva. Okay, therefore Kanva dynasty started, and later the Andhra dynasty, that was named Shatavahana dynasty, which dethroned this Kanva dynasty. Both all three belong to this Brahmana dynasties only, Brahmanical. Next, coming to consider the following statements. Statement 1: Greek ambassador to the Shunga empire Heliodorus erected a pillar in honor of god Vasudeva Krishna. Next, Shungas continued the Mauryan tradition of having Greek ambassador in their court. Here, Greek ambassador to the Shunga empire Heliodorus erected a pillar in honor of god Vasudeva Krishna. Actually, this Heliodorus was also named himself as Bhagavat, who was a lay disciple or follower of this Vasudeva Krishna, and that was true statement. And next, coming to Shunga continued the Mauryan tradition of having Greek ambassador in their court. Yes, Mauryan tradition of having Greek ambassador in their court continued by the Shungas as well. Seleucus Nicator, have you remembered that name? Who was a commander of this Alexander, who placed Seleucus Nicator as ambassador, okay, to this Mauryan dynasty. And later the Seleucus Nicator came to have brought this marital relationship with this, and they have also established a kingdom. Seleucid was the kingdom in the northwestern part of India. And which one of the following is correct in respect of the above statement? The statement 1 and 2 are comfortably correct, and statement 2 is giving that substantiation to the first statement, that is also correct. Here, one pillar inscription is located at Besnagar. The Shunga period had the inscription located at Besnagar, mention this ancient site Vidisha. Okay, that inscription located, the pillar inscription located at Besnagar during Shunga dynasty, it mentioned the ancient site Vidisha. Okay, the inscription is written in Prakrit language, but it had script of Brahmi script, that is important. So, Sanskrit, Prakrit, these do not have lipi, that means script, they cannot have script. They all used one common script, Brahmi script. From Brahmi script only, where the various other scripts emerged. Devanagari script also one such script, which was emerged out of this Brahmi script. All Telugu, Tamil scripts also, historians mentioning that, and etymological history who have been doing this kind of research, and linguists also mentioning that the Brahmi script was the source of the lipi, that means script for various southern languages of our country. That is, you have to remember these things as well. Next, it mentions about Heliodorus, the Greek ambassador, describing himself as Bhagavata, as I have said, that he is a worshipper of god Vasudeva Krishna, and set up that pillar in honor of that Vasudeva Krishna god. Okay, Besnagar pillar inscription indicating Shungas continued that Mauryan tradition of entertaining ambassadors from Greeks. Greek course. Many of the Krishna, this is Kushans, Shekas embraced Buddhism rather than Hinduism, because this is one such 1998 related question, PYQ question. That is why I am giving you as part of reference, I no need to explain much. Next, coming to consider the following page: Milinda Panha, Buddha Charitra, Ashwagosha written this Buddha Charita, and Patanjali is Yoga Mimamsa, that means Shaddarsanas, right? You have known about the Shaddarsanas, and Yoga was written by him. And next, Milinda Panha, that was a conversation between Menandar and Nagasena, Buddhist monk. And Natya Shastra, who wrote Bharata Munim, Varta Natya Shastra. Vatsayana wrote Kama Sutra. Rudradaman was one of the greatest Sanskrit patronizer, but he was a foreigner, belonged to the Shaka dynasty, and he inscribed one inscription that he mentioned that Sudarshan Tadaka, Sudarshan lake, which was revamped by him. Next, Milinda Panha, it was given in 97 UPSC PYQ, and several other PYQs considered various other literary texts during ancient times. Swapnavasava Datta, it also talks, Swapnavasava Datta, as I have mentioned, that Basa was the poet and greatest poet in ancient times. He was writing a romantic story between Udayin and Swapnavasava. Okay. And this romantic poet also influenced the Harsha, the greatest king at the end of this ancient India, who wrote Priyadarshini and Ratnavali, two other texts which were giving that romantic literary scripture regarding this Udayana and love story of Udayan king. Okay. So, he was also part of this Avanti kingdom, which was a rival force against this Magadha, and Udayan was famous king who fought against other Magadha kingdoms. That is also very important. Next, consider the following statements with respect to Junagadh inscription. Junagadh, it contains only the inscriptions of Shankar ruler Rudradhaman and Gupta king Skandagupta, and Prakrit inscription provides information about Sudarshan lake and irrigation works. Now, and the features first ever long inscription in Sanskrit given there, Junagadh inscription, and the rock edict is located in Madhya Pradesh. A, B, D are incorrect because this is Junagadh inscription. I have told you about Rudradaman I, he belonged to Shankar dynasty. He talked about the Sudarshan lake in this inscription. It was written in Sanskrit. He was a patronizer of the Sanskrit. Already I have told you about it. And a rock at Junagadh in Gujarat bears a set of Ashokan edicts and inscription of the Kardamaka or Shankar ruler Rudradaman, and an inscription of the Gupta king Skandagupta, while Ashoka's inscription contains his discourse regarding Dhamma, and other two tell a unique story of the construction. Ashoka focused on the Dhamma philosophy, but other two talking about maintenance and repair of a water reservoir related to Sudarshan lake, and it was written in Brahmi script and the language was Sanskrit. Junagadh Girnar inscription, it was also named as Girnar inscription. And next question is about, the questions are never ending actually. Consider the following statements. Yavana was the term initially referred to Kushanas, not Kushanas, Yavanas, Greeks actually. They brought this name Yavana, and that is also important, that they loved so much this pepper and the other spices. And the Yavana Priya, another term asked by UPSC, it was term denoting about the pepper, the Yavana Priya. And next, later it became a general term used to refer to all foreigners from the West. Yes, that is true, who had come from foreign territory, especially from Eurasian and West Asian part. They were termed as, and denotion that was related to them was Yavana. Okay, Yavana. This is also important, and choose the correct statement using the code below here. What is the correct statement? General term used to refer all foreigners from the West, that is true, and it was not denoted to Kushanas, that is wrong. Kushanas who belonged to this Yuchi tribe, ethnic tribe in the Central Asian part, and came to India and adopted Buddhism, and they conducted various Buddhist councils also. One of the famous Kushana king Kanishka, as you know, 4th Buddhist council held by him. Yuchi, yes, it is given right, Yuchi, right. He was this tribe Kushana was also known by the name Yuchi. This is important. Next, Sanskrit text denoted pepper, the Yavana Priya. Already I have discussed about it. Next, Briga, Kacha, Kalyan and Suparaka during Shatavahana rule were important ports. Here you please go through this. Briga Kacha, it is western part of India, especially here Briga Kacha. I am locating this one place, Briga Kacha. And one more thing, Supara, this Sopara, exactly down of this Briga Kacha. Okay, and these are important ports, coastal ports of the western coast of India, central western coast of India, mostly belong to Maharashtra region. And next, with reference to ancient South India, Korkai, Pumpuhar and Muchiri were the ports. Already I have told you, Korkai was a port city of Pandya, and Chola had a port city, that is Puhar, and next Mujiris was a port city of Pandya. Okay. Next, Consider the following statements. Statement 1, Shaka king Rudradaman I fought and defeated Shatavahana multiple times, as definitely. And next, Shatavahana had matrimonial relations with Shakas, that was also true, and both the statements are true. However, the statement 1, statement 2 has no relationship here. Statement 1 is not completely independent, not dependent on statement 2, and no relationship is established here, because Shakas established matrimonial relation is one concept, Shakas defeated Shatavahanas is another concept. They are both are completely opposite in nature with respect to concepts, because they established matrimonial relationship with Shatavahanas and they also fought Shatavahanas. These two are completely opposite. So, they both are independent, they are not associated with each. Statement 1, 2 both are correct, but not as expanding or substantiating the statement 1. The statement 2 is not expanding or substantiating statement 1. And coming to 30th question, statements with reference to Satavahanas. Satavahanas were the first rulers to make land grants to Brahmanas. As a customary practice, Satavahana rulers followed matrilineal system. It was the succession to the throne was based on the patriarchal system. Actually, all three are correct, as I have said that they followed this patrilineal system as a customary practice. However, Shatavahanas with respect to succession to the throne followed this patriarchal system. Okay. So, this is our test explanation, the day 4, and coming to day 5, please go through the schedule once again and focus on PYQ themes. Exactly hit where UPSC can hit the areas and also the gaps in which UPSC has never touched also, and not only the reference books given in the NCRTs by observing those questions, but also go through other reference books like Upendra Singh, where UPSC may have chance to focus upon those areas. Okay. I think this session would have helped you. All the very best and thank you.